Welcome to the Stack Supplement Podcast, the premier source for supplement news and reviews.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Stack Supplement Podcast, where we go over all of the top stories and exciting announcements shared on our website from the past 7 days. Last week we definitely proved to be quite busy sharing, I think it was like 13, 12 new stories a day. It was very much non-stop, and a lot of those were new products and with a few flavors scattered in between. But we're going to kick this episode off with something I didn't mention last week, and that is the Protein Wars. The Protein Wars is our annual protein powder showdown. We've been running it for, I had to go back and count the other day, I think we've been running it for like 7 years. I think it's the 8th one this year. The winners have been, there have been many winners, of course. 2 repeats, I believe. NutriBio repeated, and so did Man Sports with ISO Protein. And every year it just gets busier and busier, more intense and more intense. And I don't imagine this year being any different. When we did the Clash of the Cans earlier in the year, which is our energy drink contest, very similar to the Protein Wars, in fact inspired by Protein Wars, that proved very intense, very busy, very popular. So the Protein Wars, I don't imagine being any different. For those new to the Protein Wars, basically the way it works is we've shuffled the format around over the years, but the way it works is we get every protein powder there is, and we put them all together and we vote off. So the first round, which is the round that is starting next Monday, so from Monday of next week you'll be able to vote in the first round. Originally we started out with I think it was like 60 protein powders and had everyone vote on them. What we do now is we get full list of, I don't know what the number is now. It's a lot more than 60. I'm pretty sure it might near 100, and we put them all on the one list. Again, originally we had them all separated, but now they're just on the one list, and you vote. You vote for your favorite one at a maximum of once per day, and then once every 24 hours. And then once it comes to an end, so on Sunday of next week, it'll come to a close, we will take the top 16. So the most popular 16 protein powders from the list will move through to the second round, or the quarterfinals, whatever you want to call it. And then we'll divide those 16 up into 4 groups of 4, and they'll be battling it out. And then the most popular one from the group of 4 will obviously be left with 4 in total. Then we'll have 2 groups of 2, so 1-on-1 basically, and then the winners of those go through the grand final. But the first round is always intense because, again, it's a free-for-all. You can do many different protein powders in the mix. We have a set list basically, so there'll be a list of all the protein powders you can vote on. So you'll be presented with a list of all of these protein powders in alphabetical order by brand, and you can vote and select. And for those that didn't get their preferred protein powder suggested or entered into the list before it goes live, there is a box down the bottom, right at the bottom of the list, that basically says other, and you can throw whatever you want in there, obviously protein powder, but you put your vote in there and we'll count them. So the system basically counts up the protein powders. If someone entered, I don't know, so-and-so protein powder 5 times, it'll count that up, and then if someone else enters so you get the idea, and that'll still count towards whether you get one of those top 16 spots. Sometimes if people put in requests, we can add them during the contest, but it's much easier just to keep it in the other. And we've given people, I think it's like 2-3 weeks to submit their protein powders, let us know if there's anything they're missing or they want to see on there. And you can still do that. Just head to Twitter, social media, Instagram, go to our contact page at stack.com/contact, or just go on the Protein Wars page, which if you go to the site, type in Protein Wars, it'll be there, and you can comment who you want added. I think we've added like 10 to 20 since the post went out. But yeah, it's going to be a fun contest as always. For those that didn't know as well, we do make a custom championship ring every year for the winner. And by every year, I mean we've only done that for the past 2 years. I think it was a crystal trophy up until then. But these rings are pretty damn awesome. Very jealous, to be honest. For the Clash of the Cans, we have an iron cast mold, and I've already had replicas produced of that, so I could have one myself. But these rings, they're about $1,500 to $2,000 a piece, and I don't make anywhere enough money to justify me getting one of those for myself and the winner. So I don't actually own one, but I get them shipped to me specifically so I can just see it firsthand, and damn, they're beautiful. This one, the first year was like a silver with a black theme. The second year, I believe we did a red, hinted red with black and silver. This year we've gone for a very different kind of design. We've filled the protein tub with gold. The protein tub on the championship ring extends the whole ring, and it's a silver gold theme throughout. So it should look pretty fucking cool when it comes out. I'll get it in hand. Hopefully we'll have pictures up. We usually put the pictures up for the semifinals just to get people a little more excited, but you can see a preview of it. I don't know if we've actually got it on the site. I might have put it on my personal Instagram, but yeah, it's going to look dynamite. They always do. And be interesting to see who takes this one out this year. A lot of newcomers, a lot of new brands. Ghost, of course, being the last year's winner. Before that, it was NutriBio. Before that, it was Man Sports. Before that, I believe it was, I think, this is going to suck because my memory's not that great. I think it was MTS Nutrition's Machine Whey and Cellucor Core Whey. I'm trying to remember what the seventh winner is. I know that's only 6. I'm sure there's got to be. It's going to bug me. Oh, there is 7. Yeah, Cellucor, Machine Whey, NutriBio, Man, and then Ghost. Yeah, my bad. Sorry, I missed that one up. So yeah, Man's won twice, NutriBio's won twice, and then MTS, Cellucor, Ghost won each. I'm excited to see how this turns out. It's going to be busy as always, and we're going to be enforcing the same rules as we did for Clash of the Cans as well. So there won't be any. We don't want any giveaways run. So none of this vote and you'll go on the draw to win 5 tubs or whatever. It's just basically, yeah. And if anyone sees any stuff like that, please just let me know. We'll give the brand a warning. If nothing changes, then we do what we've got to do. And as always, we do our best to make sure no fake votes and spam gets in the mix. But this should be a fun contest, and you'll be able to vote at proteinwars.com, and that is kicking off next Monday. Voting once every 24 hours. Now we got the admin aside. We'll get into the news, and as mentioned, it was not a quiet week. It was pretty intense. The first story we're going to share comes from Mark Lobliner and Outright, which was of course our functional brand of the year for 2019 from last year, the first time we ran the award. Mark Lobliner, basically the week prior, I'm not sure if I mentioned on the last podcast, was that Mark Lobliner teased the coming of a keto-friendly Outright bar, which is quite big, because the one thing that you hear from people that have the Outright bar is that it's delicious, soft, it's creamy, it's nice, it's smooth, it melts in your mouth, but the carbs are not my favorite. The keto-friendly version very much tries to change that. It has 21 grams of protein and 20 grams of fat. These macros were confirmed this past week. And these are for its one flavor, its fudge brownie flavor, and then the carbs are 14 grams. Now, it doesn't promote net carbs. Mark mentioned he doesn't want to be one of those brands that's like 15 grams of carbs and 3 net carbs, and he just wanted to flat out say the carbs. And so it's 14 grams of carbs per bar. So it's not super, super low, but he did mention that these carbs are only from peanut butter. So none of this is added or anything outside. It's just the peanut butter that adds these carbs, with 3 grams of that fiber and 2 grams of sugar. And I do note that on the label it does say added sugar. I clarified this with Mark. It's not added as in, how do I explain it? It's not added sugar as in the Outright bar has sugar added to it. It is just, it's considered added because he's adding the peanut butter to the bar, if that makes sense. It was a little confusing to me, but he did mention that all the sugar, all the carbs are entirely from the peanut butter. You can check out the macros for yourself on the site, but it is low carb, but it is higher fat and higher protein. So the calories are at 320. So it is a lower carb bar compared to the Outright bars, but it's also higher protein and much higher fat. So you're looking at, I think it's like 50 calories, 60 calories more than your typical Outright bar. So if you wanted the low carbs, that has it. But if you wanted the lower calories, you're going to be short on that. I believe that one's launching. It's got to be soon. He announced it, teased it, shared the macros with us, so I would definitely be on the lookout for that one in the near future. But while we're on the topic of protein bars, Redcon 1 also dropped a big announcement last week regarding its MRE bar, which is I would say I actually like that one better than the outright bar, just to cure the variety of flavors. The crumbliness and earthiness and kind of that wholesome taste is still there with the MRE bar, which is another whole food based product. The macros are a little better, more typical, more protein bar like, around that 20 grams of protein with 220 calories. But basically, Redcon One announced that it's relaunching the MRE bar with a new look. The packaging on this one looks awesome. They've changed the wrapper to be themed around each of the flavors, but the taste and the texture are going to be better, which is very impressive because, again, I never had a problem with the texture, never had a problem with the taste, never had a problem with any of it, to be honest. They make some great flavors, and so I'm surprised that they felt needed room for improvement, but either way they have. But the most important part is the nutrition, the macros and the ingredients are the same. None of that's changed. So it's very much like, I've been trying to think of the damn bar. I think it was the Build bar. I'm pretty sure it was that one. They said that they updated it. If it's not the Build bar, it's someone else, so don't hold me to that. But it was a brand that came out and said that they've updated their protein bar as well. They've altered the production, the manufacturing process. Actually, now I think about it, I don't think it is Build brand. It's going to bug the shit out of me. But anyway, it's they came out and said that they tweaked the process. It's Bombar. The Bombar came out and said it, sorry. So they tweaked the process and manufacturing process in which they make the bars. So they made no change in ingredients, no change in nutrition, but the bar was softer and more flavorful. And I actually experienced this firsthand. They gave me a sample of it at the Dubai Muscle Show last year. And yeah, it was very much, when people say this stuff, it's kind of hard to believe when you, at first, they're like, oh, trust me, it's way better. But the ingredients and the macros are the same. And then I had it and I was like, holy shit, it's night and day difference. So I'm not too surprised that Redcon has been able to do something similar with the MRE bar, giving it better taste, better texture, while no change in macros and ingredients. So that's coming on Black Friday. They said it'll be relaunching, revamped on Black Friday, which I believe is like 2.5-3 weeks from now. And you can bet your ass it's not going to be the only thing they're dropping on that day. Redcon One last year announced several new flavors and products for the day. I don't imagine that being any different this year, especially since it's been relatively quiet and you know that they've got products in the works. We're still waiting on the MRE RTD, which has been a long time coming. But again, with the year that's been, it's not too surprising shit's happened like that. We'll keep with functional foods for the next story, and we'll head over to Europe, where NanoSups, the company that started out with a wooden spoon style BCA supplement, they have come up with a limited edition Christmas flavor of their original protein snack, the delicious protein pancake. And if you haven't tried this one, it is something it's worth trying to get your hands on. It is basically, if you haven't seen it, it's like a soft pancake. I mean, it's not as soft as an actual fresh out of the pan pancake, but it is pretty damn soft considering it comes in a packet. And then inside is a jam cream filling, and all the flavors packed into there. And the pancake itself is pretty plain, pretty easy to kind of just chew down. And then the flavor just infuses with everything and just makes it a whole lot better. So they've come out with a limited edition Christmas flavor of the protein pancake. Now, I'm not overly familiar with how to pronounce this. It's something that I've seen an enormous amount of from Europe. I think it's like speculoos or speculars. It's different spelling, different pronunciation, different countries, but it's kind of the same thing. NanoSups one is you're going to get the idea of it. But anyway, it's basically a classic European like spiced cookie, typically available around Christmas, which is why we're seeing it all of a sudden. The protein pancake is the specular's dough pancake. So the pancake has the cookie's flavor, and then inside, as mentioned, there's that filling. That filling is caramel flavored. So it sounds like quite an interesting thing. And I think what's even cooler is that the packaging has got that ugly sweater style design to it. So they've mixed up the packaging a bit too, which I think is really cool. If I'm not mistaken, this might be one of their first limited edition flavors. They have done special edition versions. I think they did it at their pre-workout Hype Beast, but I don't think that was a limited time thing. This I believe is very much obviously featuring that Christmas label design. The next story we've got comes from, keeps us in Europe with Max Protein, who is a Spanish company. We've posted about several times. We came across them, I think it was late last year, and we also saw them in the Dubai Muscle Show. They're a very awesome functional company. It's one of, interestingly, they are the most popular, top-selling oatmeal brand in Spain, which again is not a claim you'll see from many companies, but they are indeed a popular oatmeal company. But the reason we come across them is because they make several other protein snacks, protein flapjacks, functional foods like low sugar snacks and treats. And basically, I think it was a few months ago, wasn't that long ago, last month, they introduced a protein cream, which for those who are not familiar with functional foods in Europe, cream is pretty much what they call like butter. The brands over there, like nut butters, they pretty much call like peanut cream. That's what this is. It's a high protein spread, but again, it's called W2F protein cream. Obviously, what the fuck, protein cream. It originally hit the market in the one flavor, which I thought was really cool because it was a hazelnut white cream. That was the name of the flavor, but they branded the tub and label after Kinder Bueno. The Kinder Bueno bar, which is obviously kind of a nod to what this is meant to taste like. And they did say many more flavors were coming. You hear that often, but you don't hold your breath. Sometimes it never happens, sometimes it does. But this month, Max Protein followed through on that promise and not only came out with another 1, 2, or 3 flavors, it came out with 6. So it expanded that what the fuck protein cream family from just the one to a mountain, really. And it caught a lot of attention, mostly because they continued that branding that made it so familiar with the Kinder Bueno across into other flavors. And so there are 2 flavors, not 2. There are 2 that kind of do take that approach, and the other 4 just take a more typical kind of approach. There is a pink cream, which is it's like a pink biscuit creamy flavor. Then there's Cocoa Choc, which is a white chocolate coconut. And there's a Speculol, which is, I believe, similar to what I was just talking about with the speculoos, like kind of thing, with it's a cinnamon creamy cookie flavor. Then there is what I thought was quite an interesting name, Shut Up, It's My Birthday, which, as you guess, is indeed a birthday cake flavor. And then you have the other 2, which, as mentioned, are the other ones that keep that familiar branding going. Whereas, so there is Choco Peanuts, and this one features like a Reese's design, orange, yellow theme and colors. They've got the font going too. You'll definitely know when you see it. We've got the link on our site. Just type in Max Protein and you'll be able to see the whole family. And then the other one is the one that caught the most attention, and that is Oreoli. And then when you see it, if you don't understand it from me saying it, when you see it, you get it, because it's the idea is, I assume, is you got OH and then they spell really with REOLLY. Very, very, very subtly, or not so subtly, a nod to Oreos. And they've themed the tub in blue and white with the Oreos type cookies, and then the label design has like that Oreo type font. But the strange thing is, I felt that it wasn't. I had like 1 or 2 people mention it's a bit like Oreos, obviously, but to be honest, their Max Protein they have a thing called Black Max cookies, which is actual low sugar protein cookies that are it's as identical as you're going to get to an Oreo cookie in the functional realm, with low sugar and high protein. And I've tried these things firsthand. They're goddamn amazing. If I'm not mistaken, we have it as one of the top snacks, protein snacks on our site. I'm not actually sure, but they taste amazing. They taste damn amazing. They're just awesome, and truly something you need to try if you haven't. But while it is a Spanish brand, they're actually available in the US and Canada. I think TJ from Fitness Deal News found there's I think it's a Top Nutrition in Canada. They stock them and they ship to the US if I understand. But yeah, so basically they now launched 6 new flavors for this protein cream, which is indeed basically a high protein, low sugar cream or spread. The macros on they vary from flavor to flavor, as you'd imagine, but the Orioli one has 5 grams of protein in a 30 gram serving with just 9.7 fat, 14 carb, and under 2 grams of sugar. So it's not bad. It's around the same, not around the same, but it's in the same realm as your peanut butter. But I guess obviously this is going to be damn tasty. And the Orioli one, they've actually put in pieces of those Black Max cookies that I was talking about into the spread. So, I mean, I have had other products of theirs outside of the Black Max cookies. Some are really good, some are they're hit and miss, but they make these things look damn delicious. But you can check it out on the site as per usual. We're going to close out this episode with 2 pieces of news we saw from Ghost, who's just, you can't deny they've had a phenomenal year. They've just seen what they've done this year. To be honest, it's been their best year yet in terms, for me, for what we look for when we do things like brand of the year and just appreciation for brand. They've taken on categories that they never, you wouldn't, a typical sports nutrition brand wouldn't, and they've done it in the typical Ghost way. And they just had a dynamite year, and it's been non-stop despite all the coronavirus, COVID-19 drama and shit that's been around. But last week, Ghost, we had 2 stories. The first one was that Ghost is teaming up with Max Tuning again for another collaboration flavor. Now, this is something Ghost first did with Christian Guzman, and it's done with Max Tuning twice before, and it's done with Rob Lipset earlier in the year. The first collaboration we saw from Max Tuning with Ghost was Mango Margarita. Then we got Strawberry Daiquiri. On both occasions, the formula was the same as the regular Ghost Legend, but they added in Vasodry for extra pumps. And the flavor was, of course, worked on and inspired and themed around Max Tuning. The third one that's coming out, I believe this coming Thursday, this Thursday, it's not a traditional, it's not the regular Ghost Legend formula that you'll see on shelves in the US. It's actually a lot more similar to the European version of Ghost Legend, which is what Rob Lipset's, I'm not even sure I'm pronouncing the name right, but of what his flavor, his collaboration was, which they put a little spin on the European version, and that's what they had with the Rob flavor, and that's pretty much what they've done with this, the third Max Tuning V3. It is a sour pink lemonade flavor, and so basically, comparing it to the US one, it's very different. There are a lot of ingredients that you won't find in the European one that are in the US one, such as agmatine, yohimbine, norvaline, rhodiola, alpha GPC. But again, it's basically the redesigned Ghost Legend for the European market due to their regulations, and tried to make it as competitive in there as the one in the US is in the US. So it will look different. But the Max Tuning V3 is pretty much a spin on that European version. And this is the version that you're going to be able to find in Europe as well as the US as well as Australia, because this one's going to be a worldwide launch. So basically, compared to that regular European version, they've increased the nitrosogene by 50%. That's 1.5 grams, if I'm not mistaken. So the full 1.5 grams, whereas the regular has 1 gram. I think there's more tyrosine, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have the other one beside me to compare. But yeah, it's a few changes. I think the tyrosine is just 1 gram. I think that's how much is in there usually. But they have also kept that. That's right. They added the gram. Sorry, tyrosine's not in the regular European version, so they added the tyrosine. They increased the nitrosogene. They did also add Vasodrive, which, as I mentioned, is what they've done to the previous Max Tuning edition. So it's a nice continuation. But they did drop Actogen, which is in the regular version of the European Ghost Legend. And lastly, the servings you get per tub is 25. So while that is lower than the usual 30, it is higher than the 20 we saw in the last Christian Guzman V3. But again, that's launching this Thursday, Europe, Australia, US, and the other story we had last week was another collaboration, which I thought was a really cool one to see, because up until now, Ghost has only done collaboration flavors for its pre-workout Ghost Legend. It was only a matter of time, I guess, before they spun off into others, and that matter of time is coming soon. So details surfaced that Ghost is looking to partner up with Sonii, or Michael Sherman, who's a popular gamer, who they brought on board since they introduced Ghost Gamer. And so they're going to come together for what appears to be a special edition Sonii flavor that they hinted that it was going to be a pina colada Ghost Gamer as request by Sonii, and they are going to be adding ingredients much like they did do with the Max Tuning Guzman versions, and Sonii requested extra lion's mane and added aminos, which I thought was an interesting twist, especially the lion's mane. For extra focus, basically much like they do with the Ghost Legend, just something extra to make it more and make it stand out. But outside of that, they didn't really say anything more. There's no talks of testing dates, launches, anything like that. Just that the concept is out there, and typically when it's out there, that usually means it's going to happen. But you can check out all those stories and more on the site. Thank you for tuning in again for this week's episode. We are going to continue the interviews. I keep saying that because there was obviously time when I got lazy with the interviews. Last week we had Ike, who was from Rise. If you check out the podcast, we wherever you check it out, that one was uploaded. It was a long one too. This week we're actually going to have a longtime friend. I won't give away his name, but he works with Dragon Farmer now. We also have a couple other podcasts I believe I'm teeing up and hoping to get those recorded. But thank you for tuning in again, and look forward to having you listen in next week.